Hi everyone, today I'm back with a new video on how did I study in Polytechnic. Now if you are not a Polytechnic student, this video could also apply to you because after all, you are a student, right, who's trying to figure out how to study. And in this video, it's gonna be a very impromptu one because my motivation to do this video is because I'm wearing very nicely today, and why I'm wearing nicely today is because I wanted to take a photo for my matriculation to university, and because my photo has been rejected a few times, so I decided to give my best looking shirt and all for this matriculation photo, but that's another story to say. Okay, so the main thing today we are here is to talk about study tips regarding as a student. So if you're watching, just bear with me in this whole video. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 tips on how I study and how I get my GPA, which is a decent GPA. And if you don't know what is decent, the meaning of decent is exceptionally good. And for me, I got a GPA of 3.58, which is good to some students who are really working hard to get a good GPA to go into university. On the other hand, it's not a kind of good GPA to enter prestigious universities like NTU or NUS, but it got me to where I am, and it got me into my dream university course. So I am qualified to share about what I went through. So the first tip here, I'm going to refer with my iPad, is to listen in class. Why I say listen in class is very important is because listening allows you to acquire the knowledge, acquire the words from lecturers into your head faster than you refer to your notes. And listening in class really does benefit a lot because it cuts down the time of you studying at home when you can just be at the classroom, on the spot, just listening to your lecturers, what they have to say. And at the same time, lecturers do share on tips on how to do well for exams. And if your lecturers does go through answers on quizzes, like for my case in my poly, it's also great. I mean, that means they're giving you answers for exams. So listening is very important in class. At the same time, while you are listening in class, it's try not to do notes when your lecturers is talking, because it's kind of at least give a basic respect to your lecturers when they are trying to share some stuff. And then we have you see those students trying to be very hardworking, write notes, but what's the point of writing notes if you do not understand even the basic you don't have the basic understanding of a certain topic if you don't get it. And when you look back at your notes, right, it's like you don't understand what your lecturer is trying to say. So listening is very important and very crucial in trying to study. So this is for first tip. Now the second tip I have here is to contribute to classroom discussion or in group work. And why I say so is that when we do certain things a lot of time, and when you do some stuff in, let's say, a real life problems, it gives you the kind of experiences. It gives you an experience that comes with a kind of wide knowledge, because when you try to solve a problem, you're trying to find a solution, right? And when you're trying to look for a solution itself comes in various forms. Like example, you're trying to come up with a system, information system, let's say cinema tickets, okay, because cinema tickets is a general example. So we want to go about how do people come up with the system, what do you need to know? Like, for example, if a person is able to choke a seat, which I mean reserve the seat, does that mean the other customer is able to reserve the seat? Then you'll be like wondering, how do you go about with this whole system? Like, how do you make sure that the customer seat is not being taken by someone else? How do you ensure there is consistency inside this whole transaction? And that's where you have to consult like Google and whatever resources that you have to really go and find out how to make the system. And when you do that, it gives you the real life example. Like, it makes you trigger your problem solving ability, and that's what happens to me when I contribute in class and all that. It's like you are trying to give your all to like your classroom and discussion, and that works for me when I'm trying to study, because you are applying what you know. Like, you read up all the practical skills beforehand to really like come up with a solution and such. And it is faster than doing notes, because why I say so is, when you do notes, you're just like writing, right? Like, you're just merely copying what your lecturers said, or maybe your lecturers have the notes and you're just like summarizing again. Whereas contribution to classroom activities and all that, it gives you a kind of experiences that only you yourself know. And when you understand the skills on your own terms, your own condition, it's better. It's more reliable, and you can even from there simplify the concept into a smaller concept itself. It's like a more digestible version of understanding a skill. So this is why a contribution to group work and discussions in classroom are very vital. And for group work, make sure to really again put in your all, have passion for your work that you are trying to do, and do help your friends whenever if they have problems. Because when you work with your friends, when they ask you for help, the chances of understanding a concept is a lot more better, because you can apply your skills to help your friends, and to really like know, it kind of like seal your foundation of the concept. So for example, there was this one time, my group mate for final year project, she has problem understanding how to write a SQL statement, and because of that she asked me for help. So when you do that, it's like you have this foundation in your head, but with that foundation, if you don't practice it, it's very hard. Like, it's very hard for you to like remember on the spot when you're trying to do exam. Like, like bingo, when you see this, you're like, aha, eureka kind of moment. So it really gave me, when my friend approached me, it gave me an opportunity to really just apply whatever that I know. And regardless of right and wrong, you still have the chance to like correct whatever that you feel, like whatever that you help your friend, like that kind of feeling you get. So it's really different from like you're trying to copy your notes and such. And it's similar to listening, but instead of just like listening, like like you're just hearing your teacher talking in that kind of like wall to wall, that kind of interaction, we see here is that interacting with people is much more engaging. Like when something is very engaging, you will forever remember that certain element of that help that you give to your peers. So this is why contribution to group work or classroom discussions are really that effective in trying to make your studying more better. Yep. And if you are from Republic Polytechnic, my third tip is to really do your pre-class work and submit it on time. why pre-class work is important is because it helps you to understand the problem statements that you're going to have in class. And for pre-class work is that pre-class work is a kind of work that requires you to be independent. Like you have to read up some resources to better understand for the lessons that you're trying to go through. But because it's not really like say a comprehensive kind of concept, but what the lecturer is trying to give is to make sure you understand that basic example of whatever that is coming. That is pre-class work is literally like all in all a kind of appetizer, an appetizer to the main course of the lesson. So if you do your pre-class work, it really does benefit you, and it also not just help you in your understanding, but it can also boost your GPA up, because after all, daily grades does contribute to the whole grading to give you that module grade. So yeah, this is what I want to say for pre-class work. So make sure to submit it on time and don't treat your pre-class work very lightly. And inside, because pre-class work has materials in it, you can really use the materials provided for pre-class work to attach it together with your notes that you have. So this is another tip that I did not include in my to-do list, like what I want to say. Yeah. And the fourth point I want to make is to do your own notes earlier, and try not to ask your seniors or friends, like borrow notes from them. I know there are lots of people who in my school, they tend to ask notes at very last minute stage, and when they ask in a very last minute stage, it's very hard for them to like it's very hard for them to really, how do I put it? It's very hard for them to really know what they're doing in the first place. It's like, example, let's say friend A asked me for the notes, and friend A asked me at the point where it's 1 week before exams. Because we know, right, like if you do 1 week before exams, obviously it's like you're planning to fail in the exams, right? And then after, when friend A asks, like example me, for notes, let's say they read the notes, they don't understand the notes because it's not your work, why not like do your own notes earlier, plan out your time systematically, and like just understand your notes. That's the fifth point I want to make here. So not just making your own notes that is good for you, is like your own copyright material, your own stuff. It really lets you know the placement of where you want your notes to be, what chapters are important, what are the highlights, what are the key examples that you think is important for your notes. And all in all, understanding your notes is like understanding your mind palace. So if you have watched Sherlock, when there was this episode in series 2 where Sherlock has to dive into his memories to find out how to piece together evidence, like how to access the top secret project in Baskerville. It's something like that. Like you have your own mind palace filled with notes, and only you understand the notes, because after all, knowledge is something that cannot be taken away. And this is why understanding the notes, not only that, it allows you to better memorize your notes, so that you can quickly glance through what you need to find, like what answers do you need to get for your exams. So again, fourth point is to really make your notes earlier, to understand your placement of your notes, like what chapters are very important to you and what are the key points that you need to make. And you should not be borrowing notes from your friends or seniors because it's their hard work, like at least have the respect for yourself to really don't be lazy and just do your notes. Like I don't see any difficulty trying to make your own notes. It's after all, it's your GPA, right? So if it's your GPA, isn't it your own responsibility to really make full news of your notes, isn't it? And for me, when I make my notes, speaking of that, is I used to do it on Microsoft Word, because back then I didn't know there's such thing called like OneNote. I mean, I do know what is Microsoft OneNote, but I didn't understand the full capabilities of how OneNote works. And Microsoft Word, I believe you do know, is that you can add in content pages, and you can even highlight as such, which obviously this is a common functions that are used in Microsoft Word. But did you know in OneNote is that OneNote itself is like, think of it like a notebook where you can have your own content page, and you can even secretly make into tabs and here and such. And it's like Microsoft Word, you can even do highlighting and stuff, and even you can just put all your stuff in that one page, rather than, you know, like Microsoft Word, where most of the time you see is that kind of portrait mode, where portrait mode is the common default function for Microsoft Word. And every time you want to say change the horizontal, it's not horizontal, landscape, you know, landscape kind, it's very troublesome, you know. Why not use OneNote to do your notes, where you can just paste in all your stuff in that one page, and you can even export out the OneNote as a PDF as well, if you are very keen into PDF. And also, one thing to note is that if you are using either Microsoft Word or OneNote to do your notes, you can even synchronize the apps together with your phone. If you download the OneNote or this Microsoft Office into your phone, it works, you know. Like, if you have the school email, you can really like just synchronize it, because after all, OneNote and such, they are usually synchronized with an email account. Without an email account, you don't really have the full access to your Microsoft Office. So this is what I want to say for the fourth point. And the fifth point, which is to make your notes early, so you can understand the placement of your notes. Make your notes early so that you don't have to be like a beggar, you know, go ask people for notes, and you are well prepared, all ready to go for exams. Now, the sixth point I want to make is to go for consultations whenever possible. So regardless of seminar style or one-to-one, I find that consultations are really damn good, because example, if you are really that worried for your exams, or you feel that you don't have much time to do like preparation for revision, consultations are really the best way to really go to the place and then really get the answers from your lecturers. And sometimes in consultations, lecturers do go through past year papers, so you can really get free access answers from them, and they will really go through the exam paper answers. And not just exam paper answers, but sometimes lecturers are very kind enough to go through the concepts from the lesson 1 all the way to the last lesson. So this is very good if you are someone who's very last minute in studying. But I recommend that you guys, before you go for consultations, to really plan which consultations you want to go, because consultation, sometimes there's a conflict. Like example, there's a consultation for example maths at 2 p.m. Then at the same time 2 p.m. there's a seminar style English communication lecture. So make sure to prepare which topic, which subjects that you want to go, which do you think you need help the most, and something that you really die you cannot study on time, you know. If and then you just find ways to know, like if you have no time, just go for that consultation. Try to, you know, study early. This is why consultations and such, you only go for them when you feel very desperate to find out how to do certain concepts and such. Then if your school does have study sessions, do go for them, because study sessions usually is conducted by seniors who know certain concepts. And when you go for study sessions, you not only just get to study on your own, like if you are someone who just want to go there for a conducive environment, like me, go ahead, you know. Study sessions are really just there for you to really learn from others, and it is also a good way to make friends too from different diploma if your study session consists of a mixed diploma cohorts. For me, I think study sessions have been good for me, and it does really help my other friends who are weaker in some subjects. And there's always like few seniors who go back to study sessions at the school library just to help out and really just teach concepts. And some of them are not just seniors, but they are probably also an alumni of the school, so they already have a better understanding than most seniors in school. And because some of them are either university graduates, university students, or someone who's already working outside, they have more experience in certain skills that they can just share with you. And I feel that it's really good for some of you who really need some help from experts, or if you are someone who just cannot study at home, this is a good time for you to really just go there and just be motivated and buckle up for your studies. So this is what I want to say for going to consultation. Going to consultation, if you live very near to your school, try to go. No, I have a friend who stays quite near to my poly, and she refuses to go for consultations because she is lazy. And whenever she knows that me and some other people from my class go for the consultation, she always like to ask for notes. Please don't be that kind of person. If you can make it for a consultation and you have no obligation or commitments or whatever, just go for them. I see no harm in trying to like go for certain consultations. After all, you guys want to do well for your exams, right? Like you want to do well, like example poly, you want to get the 4.0 GPA, go for consultation. Die, just go. Okay, so for point number 7 I want to make is to practice past year's paper. Now I know that past year's paper, they can accumulate from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago kind, but usually it's good to practice past year papers because past year papers, they do have a similar format to what you would expect for exams. And most of the time, the formula applied is always the similar kind of formula. So practicing past year papers really gives you the a better understanding of a pattern, what you can expect for your upcoming exams. And because there's so many different papers, you can really practice the skills and understanding you have from your notes and just apply them. And you do it with no shame, you know. Or it's not going to be marked by your lecturers and such. And if you do your past year paper, at least you will have a better understanding of which topics you are weak at and which chapters you are weak at for certain modules. So really just practice your past year papers. You can even do it more than 5 times. It's good practice too, you know. And with that, on for number 8 is to really be consistent. Being consistent in terms of your schedule, the way you do your notes, because after all, consistency is the key to success and motivation to do well in school. So consistency is really the key towards trying to do well in school. Consistency has a very high correlation to high GPA. So the more consistent effort that you put into your studying, your time and all that, it really does improve your GPA drastically. And if you are someone who is also not that motivated to study, I suggest you to go and download an app that can allow you to time yourself, like how long you want to study and how long you're going to take a break. And if you do this routinely, like kind of constant cycle, a schedule, it really does help you a lot, because after all, it's like a rhythm, no? If you keep doing this, a rhythm, you will never go off beat. And when you don't go off beat, there's a lot of productivity you can get from trying to study. And it's not just like understanding your notes and such, but I think you have even more time to better understand how you can go about like doing your exam paper. Like how do you plan out your time to do the actual paper? With that, also consistency can also be about knowing how to plan your schedules well. For me, whenever I have a deadline and such, and I know there's so many deadlines that I need to remember, for like example final year projects and such, I will always tend to go try to put them on a calendar, like create new events on a calendar and make sure to list them down with importance, like which is very important. For example, final year project, you want to color code it, or if you have like maths remedials and such, you can just color code and do whatever you have like to remember. And because calendars are usually synchronized with email addresses are usually added into your smartphone. And smartphone, how we get all those events and such all the time on our phones, because they have synchronized with an email address. And when you add your events through on the calendar with your email address, chances are is that your smartphone may have the events already down there planned on your phone. Then you can really refer to it all the time. You don't even need to sometimes go on your laptop to really check for events. It same goes for trying to add events on phone. If you add an event to your phone, chances are is that your laptop's already having that synchronization inside. That means the events are already on that calendar without you needing to do lots of work. So this is what helps me in my studies, because for me, I was a peer support leader in my polytechnic, and there were lots of commitments. There were like camps, there were bonding sessions with other peer support leaders, then there's study sessions, then there's also lots of meetings back to back. In order to like really keep up with my schedule, like how to plan my notes and such, I have to really come up with a calendar to say when are the days that I need to go back for meetings and such, and when are the exams. And I need to also know how to plan out my time very well, or else I can't really do well in school, right? Like after all, like what I say, consistency is key to success. So consistency, I really feel that this is very important, because consistency in the way you also do notes, it allows you to memorize things faster. When you do notes all the time, it gives you that kind of rhythm that you do not want to stop. And when you don't stop, at least there's like what I say, it's a lot of productivity happens when you are very consistent in whatever you do. So consistency, it is the key to the success that I have, and it also could be yours as well. And it applies to all the tips that I mentioned, like consistency in trying to contribute to your classroom activities, consistency in making your notes, how you understand your notes, how you go for consultations, and then try to like understand your stuff better. Also consistency in listening, because listening is the key to understanding what you need to know for exams and what kind of concepts that you need to take note. What are some little tips and advices from your lecturers that could help you in your exams. So consistency is the key. And interesting is your lucky number, because 8 is after all the kind of number that everybody likes, like you just voila, the kind of feeling. Yeah. So the next point I want to get to is to really ask feedbacks from your lecturers. This could be about asking them feedbacks on improving answers based on your past year papers, or if you have some concepts that you are not sure with, just clarify with them and clear your doubts before exams. Now the thing is that lecturers, I always find them, they are nice people. They also, all their goal is to really teach students to really understand the stuff. They just want, their main aim is to make sure that students graduate from polytechnic or school on time, you know, like they just want to see them move on to a new phase instead of staying in the same school, you know, for many years. So again, getting feedbacks from lecturers is not about asking answers, but how to improve the way you answer your questions. So in my case is that I do purposely craft an email to lecturers, my own lecturers, and really just ask them feedback on how to improve answers, or even like how to go about answering a certain question if I have doubts. So I usually send is that I have the whole exam paper in PDF format, and I will just like highlight the questions that I don't know, and I even just ask them, and they are very nice enough to not just give me answers, but to really just give me tips on how to really answer them, and really tell me where to look for in the answers in certain notes. So if you also have a past year paper with your answers filled up, if it's a PDF format, you can really just send a copy of the past year paper to your lecturers and give them some time to really evaluate your paper. Don't give them like last minutes and such, because lecturers themselves, they are humans, they are busy, and some of them, they have their own families outside. So it's better to really, if you know that the exam is another week later on the Monday, and you only finish completing your past year paper, like example on Tuesday, like a week before the exam, send them on Tuesday so that they can get back to you at least 2-3 days, and then you can just ask more questions until Sunday if they are very nice enough to work on a Sunday. And it's not just about email as well. If you do have your lecturer's phone number, do take this opportunity to ask them questions on phone if it's possible, and make sure all in all is to really get feedbacks from them on how to improve your answers, how do you like what is the right answer to certain questions, and clarify doubts all on time. Just make sure to get feedbacks from them early so that you won't have to rush with other students who are also having the same problem as you, if your lecturers or teacher are very popular. Okay, so for the final point in my whole video, regardless of my whole tips, is just be yourself. What do I mean by be yourself is where you have to be responsible for your workload, the stress, your mental health, and how you balance your work and school life. Since also like there's no really a right solution, there's no wrong solution to a certain way, like how do you get that 4.0 GPA and such. It's only like based on how you do, what kind of a methods works for you. Like for example, what works for me is to be consistent and be on point, like the kind of rhythmic flow in my making of notes, doing past year papers, just asking lecturers questions, go for consultation, even one-to-one or seminar style, and even like just contribute to group works and team discussions, like be like kind of you active participation. Those work for me because I am someone who likes to memorize things in pattern. So these are the method that work for me in terms of trying to study for my exams, my schoolwork, and trying to get a good GPA. And some of you guys may also prefer other methods because some of you may be visual learners or auditory learners. You guys also can be a kinesthetic learner, so depending on which method works for you, like just go ahead. After all, it's yourself. Speaking of balancing work and school life, chances is that you need to know how to prioritize which one should come first. Like example, you have a CCA, like for example, peer support leader, and then you have exams in few weeks time, and that June period you have camps that needs to be done, and that a few weeks later you have exams. So how are you going to prioritize your time is to the only way you can do so is to really start doing your notes early. Like example, every time you come to school on time, like for example, if you have a class at 9:15, then you have to really come to school even much earlier, like example 8:30, to really do your notes, at least save some time to do notes in school and go home. At least you can complete some of notes. Then it really save a lot of time when you try to do your practice paper and such. Because a lot of my friends, they have these problems that they knew that exams were coming after the bonding camps in June, but they don't really plan their stuff well because they are so focused into the CCA that they forgot they even need to spend more time in trying to do their paper notes and their OneNote stuff. For me, it didn't really affect me because I knew what activities I have beforehand, and therefore I planned everything early. I sacrificed some of my free time to really just do my notes because all I really wanted was to do well in school. All I really wanted was to get my A to increase my GPA. So yeah, I mean, be responsible for what you're trying to do, and don't do last minute work, because last minute work, it kind of gives you that kind of chaotic feeling, and you do not want to have like a chaotic feeling, especially when you're trying to study. Then you want to cram your stuff. Then imagine you go for exams, you're like kaboosh, like you don't even know what you're doing in your exam, the actual day. Then after actual day, then you cry about it. Then there's no way to change the past. So don't be that kind of person. Don't be that kind of person where you need to go and beg for notes and such, because it's really a very chaotic state. And trust me, a lot of people who are in that chaotic state, they already knew that they were going to fail for their exam. So don't be that kind of person. So yeah, in summary, is to really just listen in class, pay attention to what your lecturers have to say, so you can digest the stuff faster, and then you can go home and revise your notes more efficiently. Second is to do some contribution to your classroom activities, like discussion or group work, so that you can really understand, have this kind of hands-on simulation, that kind of feeling. And do your pre-class work if you are from Republic Polytechnic, because pre-class work really gives you a first-hand knowledge of what you're going to expect for your classes, and you can really compile them into your notes. Fourth point is to really make your notes earlier instead of begging from your seniors or your friends for notes. Be do your own notes, so you can understand the placement of the notes, the chapters of importance and highlights and such, that only you know, and how you, because the thing is that the notes is your own work, so only you yourself understand how your notes work and how you can find the answers very easily in your own terms. And then the sixth point is to really go for consultation regardless of whether you're weak in the subjects or not. Just plan which consultation you feel is very important to really boost your GPA and such, and also go for study sessions if your school do conduct them. The seventh point is to really practice your past year papers again and again, so that you can better understand what to expect for your exam papers and your schoolwork. And also you can ask your lecturers for feedbacks, how to improve your answers, like get feedback so that you can clarify on your doubts and work on the topics that you're weak on, so that you can be more confident for your exams. And also for the last point is to really just be yourself, be responsible for your workload, the stress, how you balance your work school life, because after all, only you yourself can find the solution to trying to get that 4.0 GPA and how to do well. It's after all your life, this is your own story to write. Okay, so regardless of whether things are right or wrong, you know, what kind of solution, it's your own destiny. So find whichever methods that work for you, and just the keyword is to really be constant. So this is all I have for my video. It's a very kind of messy video, and I hope that you are able to understand what I'm saying. And without further ado, I would like to thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, do like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.